All right. All right. Let's see if this thing works. Trying to go live. Let me double check a couple things. We're good there. What's up? All right, so we're here live. We're going to be messing around on the Ableton Move, or Ableton's Move. I still don't really know how to say this. I've been a constant, a constant person who always calls live Ableton, even though Ableton is the brand, right? Let me say what's up to some folks pouring in. Yo, what's good? Good morning, X-Stellar, Crazy Wabbit. Audio and video check. Yes. Here, I'm gonna play the Move. Just a little track I got going on here. Am I clipping? Is my microphone clipping, or is this? There's a bit of saturation on it. What's good? Remy Gold. Like Remy? Like the Remy from LA Remy? If so, what's good? And if not, what's good? Good to see you both. You can't hear. Oh, we can hear. I don't know why I threw an apostrophe and a T in there. Is it a Circuit Tracks on steroids? Awesome. No clipping, no tripping. Let's get it. And no, X-Stellar, it's totally not. Like the Circuit Tracks is actually kind of totally, in a weird way, more powerful and then less powerful than this. Basically, Circuit Tracks, if you want to like connect it with your studio, you're good with Circuit Tracks. On Move, it's been really kind of frustrating, to be honest, because you only have this USB, right? And again, the USB can only be set to in or out. So for example, in this setup, I originally wanted to have the Digitact here as like my main drum machine, and then I was going to do all my sampling and keys and stuff on here, because if you have 4 tracks of synthesizers, that's pretty dope. And then all your drums and 16 tracks of sampling on something else, that's cool. But I wanted to use a MIDI keyboard. So to use this with this, I had to switch this to MIDI in only, but then I can't send clock out of here somewhere else to continue the chain. I guess I could technically go MIDI out of here and then use this maybe if this sends clock, but like, you see what I'm saying? It's just kind of a pain in the butt when it comes to integrating it into the studio. Yeah, Steve, what's good? Peace, Omega, everybody. Just trying to keep up with everybody coming in. I think the Verse Lab might be a little different because it has actual audio tracks. There are no audio tracks on here. I wish I can just, hit this and say record me singing or like playing some percussion stuff, but it's not that easy. Royan, thank you for saying that kind words. DJ Fauzi in the building, what's good? Trader to the living, always a pleasure. Remember to press record, bro. Appreciate you. Can you use the USB-C to gear? Yes, you can, which is really interesting. I was actually able to go USB into the Digitact and press play on Move, and then it would sync the Digitact. But when I flipped this to, say, MIDI receive, I couldn't send Digitact MIDI to this, which was interesting, not even clock. Yeah, it's interesting, right? But like, for example, here's a track that I've just made on just this. And this is cool, and like all my drums are here. One thing I do appreciate is that I have my drums here and I can actually just mute drum pads. And actually, this brings up a question. I wonder if those mutes, no, they definitely don't, right? I wonder if those mutes stay per pattern. So on this pattern, they're muted. And then on this pattern here, I want to see if I can unmute that. No, they don't stay per pattern. That'd be cool if the pattern mute stayed, but I guess that can also get kind of confusing later on. Let's see, can I please show controller mode? Standalone ain't gonna be dope until version 3. I'm not really gonna use this in controller mode. That's not really what I do. Can you use Bluetooth MIDI? I don't think so. In the settings, if we go down, there is no Bluetooth, just Wi-Fi actually, now that I think about it. Yeah, so no Bluetooth. There is Link. So kind of going back to what I was saying earlier, where you have, it's really interesting to kind of incorporate this into like a hardware setup as its own instrument. You could technically use like the missing link and sync this up and then live. And I wonder if this would then, I honestly don't know how link works at all. I've never used it, but I wonder if this can be the main clock in like a link setup to then go to other pieces of gear. Because if this is main, basically here's the thing. I want Move to be, I want to play Move with a MIDI controller, but to do that I got to use USB. But because of that, I can then no longer send this clock anywhere else. And that's like a big bummer to me because I can't, there's no two MIDI inputs. I wish it, if anything, had two USB A's, but oh well, right? Just delete the sounds per pattern. Oh yeah, Fletch. That's why they call you Fletch, right? That's the easy move. So what I was trying to do, which was the pattern mutes, I kind of like in when I'm making music in live, I hit 0 to disable the clip versus muting it so it's there and I don't have to type it in again. But what I was trying to do was, I was saying, if I unmute this, like on this pattern here that's playing, say I mute the ride and then we go to the next pattern. I was hoping that the ride would be unmuted here, but if we're just here, I can just delete the ride, so unmute it, it's there. The velocity sensitive pads are actually incredibly responsive. I love. And it's really easy to just go and put them into full level, full velocity on and off. I love how these pop up when they're needed and then they disappear when they're not. Groove is on because I have a groove setting of 45 just to kind of give this little bit of a swing here. We'll go into here. I like that there's a quick toggle, right? If I hold this down, select another track, it'll jump to it. And then when I let go, it'll take me back to my last track. That was implemented a lot on the circuits, like the very first circuit, circuit track, circuit rhythm. It might have been on other groove boxes before then, but I remember using that a ton at the time because you can go in, make some changes and then let go and then just be back to where you last were to make some further changes. Let's see, does it have a soft touch surface? Not really. It kind of feels, it feels the same about plasticky like this. It's the same material as push 3, not the same material as push 2, which gets super duper sticky over time. Why can't you use the USB-C with a USB-C? Wait, whoa. Why can't you use the USB-C with a USB-C to USB-A cable? So this here is power. The USB-C on the back is power and computer. And I don't think it works for MIDI, but we're about to find out because I have a cable right here. So let's test this out. Boom. Plug that in. Yeah, the launch key is not even getting power off of that. So that's strictly just for computer stuff. But if I plug in the A and then plug the A back in on the back side here, I mean the C. Oh, forgive me. Yeah, see, it powers right up. So it's a little interesting. Shift decay works to cut the endpoint. That's a good question, because that was the other thing. Like, there was so much I wanted to cover in that first impressions video that I just, there was not enough time. And I figured, you know what? I can go live with this thing and just kind of talk about it a bit more, because there's a lot to explore even just in the drum rack. So one thing that's really weird is you can put 4-minute samples on a drum rack cell. But what's hilarious is your hold time only goes up to 60 seconds, and same with your decay time. So you can't even hit the 4-minute limit of your samples. So then you would have to do, again, these are all, like, I've been on both sides of the fence, right? These are all weird quirks that, as a manufacturer, when you make stuff, you have to just put it out in the world and find the limitations that other people are willing to do with it, right? Because oftentimes, even like at Electron, we'll do something and we'll be like, oh, this is dope. And then they'll send it to me and I'll be like, oh, but this is how I work. How come it's not doing this? And they're like, oh, Never thought about it that way, right? Because there's only 2 people or 3 people kind of really diving into the firmware and its features. So with stuff like this, where it's like, oh yeah, you can put up to 4 minutes on a pad, but then somebody who designed the attack, decay, amp envelope is like 60 seconds, that sounds about right. Yeah, it's interesting. So let's try this. Somebody mentioned, can we change the start point and then maybe the end point? Oh, so this is just a fine tune of the start point, but there is no end point. Technically, there's also no gate on, gate off mode. So if I turn the hold all the way down and my decay all the way down, you would kind of use the hold time as your end point. But I wish that there was a note on, note off, or a gate on, gate off mode. And are 4 tracks really enough? I'd say so. Wait, did I just completely destroy this pattern? I mean, like, it gets the idea going. This right here is 3 tracks, right? Yo, what's up, Sarah? Good to see you. I saw you at the Move event. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming through. And I'm actually kind of afraid to launch whatever this is. I have no idea what this is. I'm gonna guess it's a string. Yeah, it is. Or some sort of whiny sound. I do love capture. Let's see if that works. Oh, did it not capture? Okay, I guess it didn't capture it there for a split second. What's cool here is I can just hold down the loop and then choose which of the 4 bars that were captured. I can choose which one I want to copy, so we can just say the last one. Or here's the other thing. Oh man, there are so many other things. You can't, when you capture a loop, you cannot like choose the start point within a loop. You're choosing start at the beginning of bar 1, beginning of bar 2, beginning of bar 3, beginning of bar 4. So in here, I want the 1 bar that's in between 3 and 4, and I can't adjust this. And on top of that, I can't actually, maybe there's a way, but I haven't figured it out, but there's no simple way for me to hold this down, and I can select these 2 bars to loop. But I can't just loop this last bar. And maybe there's... Can I just hold this down? No notes. What if I turn that off? Yeah, see, it's there's no easy way to just select 1 bar of the captured length, and then there's no easy way to select. Let me start here. Like, let me just shift all these notes. Maybe there is a way, but I'm struggling to figure it out. I can add a bar before, plus 1 bar before, or plus 1 bar after. Yeah, I don't know. It's tricky. I guess you can like maybe duplicate it and then cut off the endpoints. I don't know. It's interesting. Can Move be used to play long audio loops? And if so, does it time stretch? There's a time stretch like effect, but I don't think it's specific to saying like make this 1 bar thing be 2 bars. And I saw someone mention holding shift and then using the decay. Oh, decay, not start point. Okay, so decay is this one. Length. Okay, cool. There is a length. Awesome. Good to know. What did the rest of these do? Hold time, just a fine tune of hold time. Playback effect. Yeah, see, these are the playback effects. There's one called stretch, and then it's just stretch factor and grain size. It's not necessarily saying make this 1 bar sample lock to the tempo, so whenever I change it, it'll stretch it out, or make 1 bar, 2 bar. Ricky, no questions, but just a quick thank you. Oh, Austria, Thomas, yo, I appreciate you a ton. That's very kind of you. Thanks so much. Ricky just dropped in. Is there a house piano instrument? There is, Joshua. This is actually a great question. So I'm going to just jump to another project, a blank one for now, and we'll just put in a simple little kit, we'll just go to 909. Sure, boom, 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 boom. Now, on track 2, actually we'll go to track 3. If I go all the way back, oh, my bad. On track 3, we can go to, where is it at? It's like pianos and keys. So here, if I just play a simple chord, they sound pretty good. If I go down an octave. Oh, this one has a chord on it. So I was actually pleasantly surprised by how many E piano sounds are on here, which is really great, because that's kind of my, I don't know, I've been loving. Oh, yes, please. This is amazing. How do I use this thing? User chord. Oh man, I do not know how to use this launch key. I just got this thing, so forgive me. This here device has potential to go goober mode. Yeah, I'd say so, whatever that means. Shift 11, what's good? Thanks for coming through. So then can I use this in and do like a capture-y thing? Let's see. We'll just play some chords. Let's see what happens with that. So this is interesting. I have no idea why it chose this capture to be 127 at 5 bars. Probably because I just played this like randomly in at no tempo of my own. So this is like the best we could do. But I'm gonna go and actually make this kind of work, which is make it 4 bars, just the first 4 bars. And if I really wanted, I can see that that's there. I can get rid of this and I can duplicate this to here. And then maybe this, I wonder if I can copy that to here. That's cool. So then I'm gonna hold this down and that's the note length. How do I increase that? We'll make this 24 steps. I'm guessing that's what this means. Now, can I see what notes were played in this? Oh, that is not good. Oh, notes transposed. Oh no, I lost it. Oh well, we can just play it in. I know what it was. These tiny keys are going to be the death of me. I wonder if I need to have the sequencer stopped. So if I go down, it shows them in white, right? I'm guessing that's what that is. I guess I can just build a chord here, right? Oh, but then this is going to be in a scale. And I also wish that this would play the chord for me. But let's set this to 24 and see what this does. Bum, bum. All right, that's hideous, but you get the idea, right? We're just gonna go ahead and play this in. That's fine. Now, to lower the volume, it's the same as the main knob here, so we can just lower that track down. And if I go into that track, we have different things like filter cutoff, hybrid bass. Yeah, see, look, it'll capture this giant 8-bar thing, but then I have to go in and maybe find. That's cool. We'll just leave it at those 2 bars, and I'll quantize this. If we go to our E piano, I can quantize that as well. This is pretty much quantized, but we'll throw that on anyway. And then I'll add a little bit of groove. Let's see. Any other questions? Does it support audio in through USB-C? I don't know. I know you can use it as an audio device. Apparently, that's what I heard on one of the Sonic State interviews, but I'm not sure to what extent. When you do go into the sampling, though, I will say that your only options are line in or resampling, and if this is unplugged, it's the microphone or resampling. So maybe that's one of the limitations there. Recording audio to a drum rack. Is it possible to record a predefined grid? No, there isn't. I really wish that there was quantized record lengths. There is not, and I wish it was there. I also wish that there was a threshold, right? Because, for example, here, we'll run it through right now. Let's say we mute, we'll just mute everything except the drums. And on track 4, I'm gonna put another drum rack here, and this will just be our samples. So we'll go all the way down to templates. We'll go to drum kit. Now this is here. And if I hit record, and I have stuff here. Yeah, that's fine. So here's the tricky part, right? I need to hit record. I'll show you on the Move. So I have to hit record, then go play the chord. Once it's done, hit record, stop again. And now it's in here. Hold on. This is crazy. Did it just set the start point for me? Yo, what? This is the weirdest thing. I did not know. It doesn't do this. It can't do this. Let me try that one more time. We're going to record onto another random pad, and then I'll just play another another chord. We'll just do this one here. Okay, and stop. All right, so I was sort of wrong in my video then. It does not have threshold record start, but what it does do is that it will automatically set the start point to the beginning of the sample, I'm guessing after a certain threshold has been passed. Because this one is dead on. And I didn't set the start point on this. And this one, I just messed up the start point. So if I go into the fine tuning of this start point here. Interesting. And then once you're in a drum rack, you have 16 levels. And I want to go into full velocity. That's fine. Let's turn this up. Quantize that. Now this drum rack has a filter, if I can ever find it. Oh right, it's in the shift. You gotta go to the sound, click down, filter setup. Oh, there is envelope mode and gate mode. Awesome, I'm happy that that exists. And there's also choke groups, which is really nice. Filter to velocity. Nah, I want a filter envelope, but there isn't one. Tight. All right, let's go back to our main bank, and now we can adjust our decay time. And now we'll go back into filter setup. Oh, watch this. So I'm gonna clear out this automation. If you hit this, it's gonna double the loop and double the loop again. So now it should be 4 bars. Let's see what it does. What the hell? That's 8 bars. All right, that's not what I wanted, but we'll just do 4 bars. Easy edit. Now, I need to go back. Man, I really wish the filter was easier to get to. So we can just hit record. That's in there now. Let's go back. We're gonna go to saturator. We'll set this to be delay. This sounds pretty dope. 909 kit, turn that up, go into it, and I'm gonna double this as well. Listen to our crash, and I'm only gonna put it on the first bar. And then now that we're in here, we can go and add a saturator, analog clip. Yes, please. And then you got the dry wet of that too. Yeah, so TLDR, Sebastian, it is a very limited push 3, minus ADAT, minus some of the more sophisticated MIDI out stuff that you could do. It's a little tricky at times. I wonder if this device will last past the honeymoon phase. Yeah, you know, Mark, it's good to see you, by the way. Thanks for tuning in. Interesting about that, like I do find myself just kind of grabbing this thing and taking it with me because it's so small. And it's battery powered, and the battery lasts decent. I mean, it has died on me on the couch, and I was pretty bummed. But at least it's very much like it'll save your last state that you're in, which is cool. So, you know, I didn't lose anything. But I do grab it a lot, and then unlike the circuits and the circuit rhythms, like it's really easy to take this idea and just take it into live or somewhere else once you're kind of ready to make it another track. I do wish it was I just like for my workflow, I really wish it would integrate into my studio with hardware a bit more. The MIDI thing to me is like somewhat limiting. If you're a hardcore live user, yeah, this thing's pretty dope. You know, it really feels like you get a solid piece of hardware that you could do a ton with and then continue on your journey in live. But if you're doing a lot of hardware stuff with like, you know, synths and sequencing and clock being sent around, it's really tricky to kind of get it going. And I mean, I guess, you know what? Here's kind of another interesting thing I want to try. I have the MRCC 880 here. I wonder if I can just plug in B to A into the MRC 880 and if it would send clock everywhere. But then see, oh, well then, no, yeah, okay. Whoa, easy there, Rick. It would probably send clock everywhere. I'm gonna grab a USB cable real fast. But the only downside about sending clock everywhere is that I, again, cannot do what I want to do, which is, why? I went from not having any of these right angle USB-B cables to having way too many. So sure, I can plug this into a hub or something and then send a bunch of clock everywhere, right? But then I still can't do the one thing that I really want to do, which is plug in a MIDI controller to play the keys and the pianos and all that stuff on here, because that's separate. This has to be out or in only. So let's see if this will work. USB into the MRCC 880. Can I bring this down here? Ooh, that's a... This kind of works. I'm probably destroying something in my studio somewhere. All right, that power's on. Huh. Oh, right, and then I need to go into MIDI mode, and then we're gonna set it to out only. So then USB-A, go to things outside of here. So, okay, I guess it powers it up, but I'm not gonna go, whatever, I'm already here. Let's do it. I have a Digitac just chilling right here. Let me see what happens. I really wanna know now. Let's get this. You can get out of here. We're doing this live, baby. All right, let me find a MIDI cable. Thankfully, I am somewhat organized, I like to think. MIDI in, and then MIDI out of 3. Now, like I said before, I was able to get this to work with just USB in, but this is just to prove a point. So on here, MIDI configure, sync, clock receive, clock send. On here, I'm guessing channel 4 to go out of 3. Channel 4 to go to 3. Yo, awesome. It works. Hell yeah. This is perfect. So I was kind of thinking originally like, oh, maybe the MRCC is kind of dead when using something like Move, but it's totally not. I can go USB out of Move. Move is the main clock in the situation, into the MRCC, and then that would send clock to 4 different destinations, and I can even send notes to different things as well. But only one track, right? Because on Move, you just have MIDI out track. Which track? 1 through 4. And you can't turn this off. I talked about that already. Interesting. Very, very interesting. But now I've completely destroyed my setup. Let's see if there are any other questions in here. Somebody likes the roll in Verse Lab. I've actually been really curious about the Verse Lab. Lexter says Ableton Move will just gather dust in a few months. Interesting. DBO30 says, what bums me is that the filter affects the whole rack. What? No, it doesn't. The filter just affects a single track in the drum rack. Unless you're talking about a completely different product. Sorry, I've kind of been in and out of the chat. Are you limited to only being able to adjust 8 parameters on the synth, or can you dive into all parameters? Good question. So, interestingly enough, if we go and, let me disconnect all this so I don't destroy my battery. If we go and, right now we're in a drum rack. If I hold, you have these sets of 4 parameters here, or 8, and it's going to be these 8. If I hold down Shift and then click this, I can go into the filter and setup. Filter and setup then lets me adjust filter cutoff, the envelope mode, gate on, gate off, the choke mode, what choke group it's in, but it's just one group, it's just on or off, and velocity. But if I go to a synthesizer, so for example, this one here is drift, we have these 8 cutoff, or 8 parameters, but if I hold down Shift and then like try to go into that, there's options, and now I'm just changing the preset, but if I click options, you get kind of excited, right? It's just a matter of saving the preset or not. So that's it. But if you want, yo, Tripwell, I appreciate that so much. Thanks for sending over that little super chat for 99 cents. My man, appreciate you. I'm gonna use that to buy, I don't know, even the dollar stores are closing nowadays. I'll find something. I appreciate it a lot. It'll add up, right? So yeah, you can't really do much outside of these 8 presets. And another thing about the presets, the drift ones are, let me unmute this. Well, they're 8 voices. Some of them are, at least. Oh, listen how good this sounds. I mean, minus this awful playing. It's so freaking beautiful. Like, so I bought this, the Yamaha CP. And the main reason I bought this was because I wanted to see if this could kind of like replace my Nord. And so far it's been doing pretty good, minus one patch on the Nord, which is depacem or depacem, the violin strings. This doesn't have any strings, but outside of that, it's really good. But, yo, the keys on Move are sick. I really, really like them. And I'm so happy that they're here. And I'm guessing that this is just kind of really showcasing the power of the e-piano stuff on here. Anton asks if you can record automation per clip. Yes, you can. You totally can. Is the I/O made well? I'm just worried about plastic TRS jacks. Yeah, they feel okay. They're not the worst thing in the world. You know, I've had flimsier things happen. I feel like they'd last a while. Ah, Trip Wallet, you're too nice. I'm the Daft Punk Ain't for Friends guy. I appreciate that a lot. Seriously, thanks so much for throwing in the super chat. It means a lot. I hope I didn't pressure you into giving me more than $1. Please don't. Totally not needed. Oh man, that's so funny. But yeah, like the piano sounds on here are really good. And then if I go into here and like, there's a chorus ensemble. Oh, this is one thing that I actually, acoustic pianos, Dallas House, maybe. Let me mention this real fast and then I'll check that. And good to see you, Dallas. So maybe I'm tripping, but when I go to change an effect, for example, this delay that's set so perfectly, I click on this and I just go here. And I go to back. Maybe this is the way to do it. So let me see, if I go to saturator, yeah, see, this is the thing. All right, so I went and I selected saturator just to preview what was going on. Maybe there's something cool there, but there isn't. So what I do instead is I say, all right, I don't want a saturator. I hit back to take me back, but it just loads the last preset that the knob touched or that the screen was on. So now I'm stuck with the saturator and I'm like, okay, well, let me go back to the delay that I had. And I don't know which delay it was. So then I have to go and just reload this ePiano MIDI. But if I had any other settings, those are all gone now. So this, the way you select the effects, like this chorus is cool. Yo, I am in love with this patch. Holy crap. If I say, you know what, let's try like a phaser or something. All right, there's no, oh, there's this. And I say, you know what, never mind, I don't want this, and I just go back, and I go back. It's now loaded that last phaser I was on, and not the chorus that I was originally on. So I wish that going back was actually ignore what we just did and take me back to the original preset before I entered this menu and stop auto-loading things for me. Oh man, this is gorgeous. I need that keyboard back. Screw this. Where are we? What cable did I have? I had this one thing I will say that I noticed at, they had like this little event. This seemed to kind of get like scratched up a little bit when plugging things in and out. So maybe over time it gets kind of scratchy, just this type of material, but I can't say for certain because I haven't had this thing for that long. All right, so now we're here. I need to go into setup, go over to Wi-Fi or MIDI in. And now we're into MIDI in mode. And my settings here. Hey, why is this not playing? It was playing earlier. It's totally for sure user error. It can't be. There it is. Oh, yes, please. I'm all about this. Yo, Cryptic, I appreciate that. $5, that's insane. Thank you so much for that super chat. It means a ton. Can you record a full performance on it and transfer that to live? You can record automation into the clips, and then in your session view here, you can record that across these clips, and then when you import that into live, these clips basically get turned sideways, and then that will give you your somewhat performance. So I don't know if you can just, if you can launch, no, you can't. So I was gonna say, I wonder if you can play like copy 8 clips and then say play all 8 of these and then perform it there, but I guess you can't. So ignore all that. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do, but good thing there's an undo button. Mike Van Rossum, yo, cool way to send you a tip this way. I appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much for saying what's up, and thanks for the little super chat. That means a lot. How many lanes of modulation? That's a good question. I don't know, and I'm not about to find out. So let's go back to Dallas House Music, one of the homies. I want to answer his question is if there are any acoustic pianos. So right now we're in drift, but then there's these here which are sampler instruments. So, wow, again, these sound freaking great. That's actually pretty good. We'll load that up, and then the reverb. Oh, see, look, I just selected another reverb now. Yes. Oh man. Can you lazy chop in simpler? So the way to lazy chop is mainly in the drum rack mode. In here, there isn't a simpler. So if we go and look at this little drum kit where I had a couple things in here, let's say I want to load something in the hybrid bass. We'll go here, we'll go all the way back, and then we'll go to templates. These are the templates you have, and basically it's drum kit, choke kit, you have a sampler, which is your simpler, and then analog, you have this symbol, which is the drift, and then wavetable, and that's pretty much it. So the sampler, if I hit record, it's wanting to record everything. And if I play anything, let's just say, wow, that was loud. Yeah, we'll just play something off of the Pro 3. So let me turn this up a little bit. If I just press this and lock that in, right, it's just going to do this. So it's basically just take a sample and play it across the keys. At least you can play chromatically, which is nice. But if you were to do this in the drum rack mode, that's where you get the lazy chop in. So drum kit, hit record, and let's just see if there is a preset that I can find on here that has the sequencer going. Oh, I think I have the clocking on here set to something different. Let's see, clock in, I'll set that to off. Okay, come on, you gotta give me something better than this. Let's try this one. Really? This is what we got. Okay, whatever, that's gonna play. So on here, this is how you'd lazy chop. All right, you may now please stop doing that. So, that's the lazy chop mode. And if I don't want that, I just have to hold this down and change my length here. But it doesn't show me. Whoa, what the hell? Why did it just completely disappear? Huh? Do I have to hold this down? Something strange is happening here. But again, it's probably user error. Again, I just got this thing. Go easy on me, if you will. $303, hell yeah. Thanks for that. Do I have one in the house? No, I don't. I just got the Avalon. Oh, check this thing out, Dallas. You might be interested in this. Look at, I'm borrowing this from my homie. This is a modded 606, and it's got this insane kit at the end of it. And what that's going to do is give it way more control over the analog, the analog sound engine, and it actually sounds pretty nuts. I want to do a double 606 jam with this one, and then mine, which has the individual outs mod on it. Let's see, is there anything else? Man, there's so many questions to ask, right? Can you record scenes and make a full beat? Not really. Basically, the scene limitation is just like here. There's no scene launch, but I will say it's easy to just do that, and then, right, you could just launch this and then say, all right, now let's play the whole thing. And if you hit it again, it doesn't mute it, which is nice, but if I wanted to mute any of these clips, that's fine. There's some nasty going on in here. Yes. Delete. No, I don't want to delete. Oh, mute. Polyrhythms. Yeah, you could totally do that. So let's go ahead and duplicate this clip here. Actually, you know what? Let's get weird. We'll just go here. We'll launch this. I want to change our tempo, which is going to be here. And we'll lower this to 111. Now, looking at this clip, if you want to change the length, we have 2 bars, 1 bar, right? If I hold down shift, it's 2 bars plus what? So 2 bars plus 4 steps of a 16. Oh, right, so we don't actually want that. I want to go 1 bar plus 4 steps. All right, so you can do stuff like that. But again, it's like a little interesting to see how it's implemented. Rather than just telling you this is 20 steps, it makes you do some math. This is 1 plus 4 16ths. But addition's somewhat easy, right? What does this do that other cheaper devices can't? So the big thing, Zizo, about that I think that Move does really well is if you have live, you can take your track, you can take your idea and import it as a session into live super easily. You can't do that on the Roland P6. You can't do that on the EP, right? I made a track on my 133. Or this ain't the 133. I mean, this is a medieval, but whatever, 1324,000. And I was like, I want to finish this in live, in Ableton Live. I spent maybe 45 minutes just decoding my track and putting it into live. I had to go into track A, lower the volume of all the tracks individually, and then bring them up one at a time using the knob, which also meant that I was completely changing and altering their volumes, which also meant trying to sync it up and do all this stuff. And it's the same for like the Novation circuit. You have to go in 1 track at a time, and then at least there you can kind of mute the tracks. But then if you have any, like with its hacks and with its cool little features like the, what's it called? It's called sample flip, where you put multiple sounds on 1 track. You're kind of doing that out of a necessity, not so much out of creativity. Well, at least I was, because I was like, oh man, I only got 4 drum tracks. Let me see where else I could take this. Let me just put some closed hats in between these open hats. But then when I went to record that in live, it's like, all right, well now let me duplicate this pattern, mute those out, right? So what Move can do is that it will just take those tracks, your samples and all that, and just put it into live. A lot of cheaper gear can't do that. And I think that this is just the beginning for something like Move, because it has a crazy ARM processor in here with 64 gigs of memory, 12 of which are for the OS. So that just instantly says a ton about what the heck this thing is running. You're like, 12 gigs to run this? I know that the sounds sound really good, but what else is this eventually going to be able to do, right? So I definitely think that this is just the beginning. Can it lazy chop in controller mode? I'm not sure. Importing into live is the main reason they bought it. Yeah, it was very hard to do that with Circuit, which was the previous group box. Exactly. That's kind of my point. It's that's what I call that now what moment, right? You're like, oh man, this is dope. Now what? I don't want to take this into a DAW. It's going to take forever, right? So yeah, it's interesting to see. Jonas says they got one. It was awesome. They would love to be able to do a bit more composition. Yeah. Yo, Tony Spray, thank you so much for that. I appreciate that a ton. Wow. It says celebrate their first super. Tony, you've never given anybody a super chat, and I'm the first person you're going to give it to. I am forever grateful. Thank you so much for that. It means a ton. Seriously, y'all are the best. Does it have chords similar to the MIDI effect in live? It doesn't. You have to do all the chords yourself. But if you have another controller, like this little MIDI controller thing, it can do chords. I will say there are some presets though, like that I went and found. Let me see. Some of the presets have like a chord built in their oscillators, but I don't know which ones they are. And on top of that, you could technically make a preset in live and then send it into here, I believe, which is really cool. Yo, Earl, what's up with all, y'all are too kind. Thank you so much for this. Seriously, so many great years of inspiration. Earl, you've been watching the channel for years. That's dope. It means a ton. I know a bunch of y'all have been here for a long time. Some of the old heads remember some of the, meeting y'all in public too is so cool. They're like, what happened to the coffee intro and all that stuff. So it's cool to see who's been around for a hot minute. Dalla says they love their MC 101, but I think this thing for house music, like this thing a fraction more for house music. Yeah, same. I think it's pretty good for that kind of stuff. DBO 30, the cameras are lagging pretty bad. Oh man, yeah, I think my stream health ain't that good. Probably because I'm on the Wi-Fi. Sorry about that. Panning handled in tracks? I'm not sure. That's a good question. Yo, I think my Wi-Fi is starting to my Wi-Fi is tripping. I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe some iCloud backup or something like that. But I appreciate that, Leslie. Can you import? Hopefully the audio is okay, right? To what extent can you edit the synth engines? You just have the 8 tracks, or the 8 parameters on each track, which kind of sucks because like I said before, in the drum kits, you can go and get another bank of synths. But on all of these, like the sampler here, you have the sampler stuff, but then when it comes to the synthesizer stuff, which is wavetable and drift, you only have the 8 parameters. And then it's either one or the other, but like wavetable is 4 voices and drift is 8 voices, or the other way around. Let's see, 1 frame per 4 seconds. Oh man, this is so bad. Anyway, maybe I'll call it here just because these frames are getting insane. It's not receiving enough. Whatchamacallit? Oh no, we're getting an error on my side. What's happening? Maybe my computer's getting way too hot. But yo, I appreciate all of you. I'm gonna do like some robot moves so it just looks weird in the dropped frames. But I'm gonna call it here. It's getting hot in the room. The dog needs to go on a walk. And I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much all for the super chats. And hopefully you can hear me okay. I'm doing some weird movements, so if you see me doing something strange, I appreciate you all. And yeah, anyway, Shift 11, I appreciate you. Thanks so much all the members too that tuned in. I'll leave the live stream up for the members only. Feel free to join below if you'd like. Got the Discord in there and all that. And yeah, I'll catch y'all soon. Peace. Let me try and stay long enough so that a piece shows up. Later.